Welcome to The Author Show, where we feature new authors and books, from fiction to self-help and everything in between. You'll find it all at theauthorshow.com. That's theauthorshow.com. And now let the show begin.
Hello and welcome back to the show. This is your host, Don McCauley. Today we're welcoming the program author Jody Sharpe, and Jody is the author of Town of Angels. Jody, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Good. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, I'm an author living in Arizona, and I've written 3 novels about angels living as humans in the town of Mystic Bay. And I've been writing little stories since I was a child. So finally, I have 3 novels, and I'm writing the 4th.
So tell us about your book.
My book, Town of Angels, is the 3rd in the Mystic Bay series. And since it's set in this wonderful town that I created of Mystic Bay, angels live as humans, and no one knows the secret. And the secret's been kept in the last 2 novels. And this time, a bully comes to town, and the angels have to guide their flock, their people in the town, towards thwarting the bully's efforts. So that's the main theme.
So who did you write your book for specifically?
Well, I think that many people would enjoy this book, from teenagers, male, female, adult, of course, anybody that loves angels, but also loves mystery, romance, thwarting the bully, or anyone who's been bullied, and people in small towns that have small town politics. So anyone interested also in the way to peace, because I think my books bring a lot of comfort to people with the words of peace and love and understanding amidst all the central themes in the book about bullying and getting along with others.
Now, could you say there's any type of central message or perhaps underlying theme that you would say runs throughout your book?
Yes, I personally think, since I wrote it, that now is the time for us to think about love and kindness and how it's a theme and a key for having a good life, a happy life, and getting along with others. And that's really the main theme, is love and kindness.
So if you could compare your book with any book out there we might already be familiar with, which book would it be and why?
Well, I don't really know which book, since it's so unique, but I would think any books that have a spiritual message in novel form that make you think about life, think about the future, think about how you deal with certain obstacles in your life and how to move forward in a loving and generous, kind way.
So why did you choose to write Town of Angels and the other 2 novels in this series?
Well, I just think we all need to think about angels. I really believe that they're there and unseen. Sometimes they're seen to people. And I believe that right now, just like I said before, the chaotic times of our life, and we need to all come together. And in my books, the town always comes together, that always seems to help problem solve the problem, whatever it is. And they work together, and they are respectful of each other. And I think that that's probably what would be the most important thing.
So why did you choose to write about angels as the theme?
Well, I love angels. I feel like I met one once long ago when my daughter passed away, and it's an interesting story that's in my 4th book that will be coming soon. And I feel that really helped me think about angels, that sometimes maybe we meet them unseen and we don't know they're angels, but they're really angels that are helping us. And I think people on earth are angels sometimes, people that help out and are there when you need them. I think that if we all thought about angels and what they mean to each of us, the world might be a better place. It has been for me, writing these books.
Now, that particular story is very interesting. Can you tell us more about that?
My best friend Nancy took me on a girls' trip after my daughter passed away over 20 years ago to Houston. And we were just in a very nice upscale department store. And we just met a man who seemed to be buying things there, a distinguished man. He said he was from Scotland. And so we just talked for a minute. And then the next day, my friend Nancy said, let's go to this town that was an hour away from Houston, a little tiny town she'd never been to. They have cute shops. So we're in this very small shop, maybe the size of 2 dining rooms. And then that same man came up to us and said, "Hi, girls." And we said, "Wow, fancy meeting you here." And we talked for a minute. And he said, "Well, see you at the airport." And we looked away and looked at some shopping. And we turned away back to him, and he was gone. And we just were so astounded. Where did he go? We went outside and looked up and down the street, and he was nowhere. And we decided maybe he was an angel that came to comfort me, because I had a fear of flying that had escalated dramatically after my daughter's death. And so after that, my world changed, because I think an angel came to comfort me. And I know I didn't see him at the airport. People ask me, but I know somewhere he's there. It was just too bizarre of a incident that we just couldn't believe that man he wasn't with a woman. So why would a man be shopping the exact same place an hour away at that moment? So that was my angel story. And so I created the angels that live as humans when nobody knows the secret in the town, and they guide and help and are fantastic characters.
So why in this book did you choose the theme angel versus bully?
Well, today there are a lot of bullies in the world, and we've all experienced some bullying as children, or in the workplace, or your neighbor, or in politics. And I just felt that there's no place for bullying in the world, or name calling. So I decided to make a character that was a bully, but then the character learns. And he learns through soft voices and intuitive minds, I put in the back of my book, because we all need to be respectful. The bully doesn't learn by being bullied by me. The bully learns by respect and watching other people's actions and learning. And so this is the theme I put in the book that I hope people read and enjoy and think about.
How did your career teaching students with special needs and the loss of your daughter, Kate, change your thinking about life?
Well, that's a good question, because I didn't know how I was going to live. I didn't know when my daughter passed away how I would move on. And I was still teaching, and my special ed students were such loving people and with no agenda, just love. And they were teenagers. I had a work vocational program. And between that and the love of my family and my friends, I realized that I had a life to live. I needed to give my children, who were still alive, my twins, who were 15 at the time, that I needed to keep going and being the same mom. And I needed to be a good friend and a good wife to my husband, who's passed away now. But I needed to keep going. And so I was given incredible love and support. And it's made me who I am today, and it's made the writing that I do very important to me. And I know I need to get a lot of the stories and ideas out in the world.
So did your environment or upbringing play any major role in your writing?
Yes, I used to write little stories as a child, little pictures. I draw little pictures with happy endings. We had dysfunction in our family. My parents were alcoholics, and it was very difficult, because when you're a child and there's really no one you can count on, it affects your whole life. And looking back, I think it's made me the parent that I am. Maybe it's made me the friend I am, and it's made me the person that I am, because I decided to be the survivor of that all. And I always felt that angels and God, someone was with me all the time. I always knew it. And of course, I never saw an angel, but I just knew that somebody was there helping me, and I always had hope. And hope is a very strong word, because if you have hope, you can get through anything. If you can hope that your life will change for the better.
So how would you describe your writing style?
Well, it's narrative, telling the story about what happens and what happens next. So I assume that's what it is. It's narrative, and it's also whimsical and fantasy. with a lot of wonderment and imagination.
Who or what would you say influenced your writing the most?
I guess that a lot of the spiritual books that I've read after my daughter passed away, I read so many about near-death experiences and books about angels, and just some other authors that write down-home type, little town stories and books, and that was the most influential, I think.
So are your characters pure fiction, or do you draw from people you know in real life?
Well, some are fiction, but I draw from some of my favorite people in my life. So I draw the characters from them, for instance, and I think I've talked about her before. My friend Laura Jean is she's the owner of the Next Door Cafe, and so when I'm writing, I write her. Madame Norma in my books was my wonderful friend who lived to be 93. She was like a mother to me and a friend and mother for over 40 years. And so she became, thinking about her when I write, Madame Norma, the oldest psychic in town, a very dear, dear character. And so, yes, I do that. I draw from people I know, but I don't specifically state their names, but they're in there. A lot of them are there. My children, my husband. Yeah, I love doing that.
If you had to choose, would you say you're more of a character artist or more a plot-driven writer?
Well, I think you have to be both. I love thinking of the plot and drawing the characters and making them come alive. And so I think you have to be both to keep the reader interested. And so I love thinking about the characters, and I actually love writing dialogue and the description of the town. So I like both, and I think I do both.
In your opinion, who should buy your book?
Well, I think anybody that loves angels, that loves good versus evil, and where good always wins, and who's needing a spiritual, peaceful, joyful read about overcoming obstacles and moving forward towards a happier life.
Do you have a website?
Yes, jodysharpe.com. It's a great website with a blog, so I hope people look me up.
Well, this has been just great. Our guest today has been Jody Sharpe, and she is the author of Town of Angels. Jody, thanks very much for being with us today.
Well, I so thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
This is Don McCauley wrapping up another edition of The Author Show. The Author Show podcast can be accessed at any time by visiting theauthorshow.com. Selected interviews can also be found on major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, and many more. If you're an author who would like to be featured, just visit theauthorshow.com, complete the interview request form, and we may contact you. Marketing is seldom easy for authors, and the Author Show is a great way to promote your work worldwide using a high-quality interview that can make a real impact. Check us daily as we continue to introduce wonderful authors of very interesting books on The Author Show.
Thanks for listening to The Author Show. Find out more about authors and their work at theauthorshow.com. theauthorshow.com. Tune in next time to another great author on The Author Show.